Hello, gents. Family is supposed to be a place of love, support, and belonging. But what happens when it becomes a source of control, drama, or emotional exhaustion? For Sigma males, the answer is simple. They walk away. Not out of hatred or rebellion, but because they refuse to stay in environments that drain them. Sigma males are wired differently. They don't follow society's rules just because they're expected to. They think for themselves, make their own paths, and refuse to be trapped by obligations that don't serve them. If their family respects them, they will stay. But if they are constantly criticized, manipulated, or used, they have no problem leaving. Many people will try to shame them for this. They'll call them selfish, cold, or ungrateful. But here's the truth. Staying in a toxic family just because it's family is not strength, it's self-betrayal. Sigma males understand this better than anyone. They know that real respect is earned, not given by default. They would rather be alone and at peace than surrounded by people who hold them back. If you've ever felt out of place in your own family, like you don't belong, like your ambitions and mindset are too different, you're not alone. You're not broken. You're a Sigma male, and you have the right to put yourself first. Watch the full video to understand why walking away isn't weakness. It's power. And if you've already done it, know that you made the right choice. Let's get started, gents. Number 1. When family becomes a source of control, not support. Family should be a place where you feel safe to be yourself, where you're encouraged to grow into the person you're meant to be. But what happens when family stops being a source of support and turns into a system of control? This is the reality that many Sigma males face. From a young age, they realize that their independence is seen as a threat. Instead of being encouraged to explore their own path, they are met with resistance, constant questioning, demands to conform, and expectations that don't align with who they are. It's not about guidance or wisdom, it's about control. Parents, siblings, or extended family members feel entitled to make decisions for them, to tell them what they should be doing, how they should think, and what kind of life they should lead. And when a Sigma male refuses to play along, the guilt trips, manipulation, and emotional pressure begin. But here's the thing. Sigma males don't respond to control. They don't fall for the same emotional traps that keep others bound by obligation. They see through the manipulation, the passive-aggressive remarks, and the subtle ways family members try to impose their will. And when they realize that their individuality is being suffocated, they make the choice most people are too afraid to make. They walk away. To outsiders, this may look like coldness or selfishness, but to a Sigma male, it's a survival instinct. They understand that staying in an environment where they can't be themselves is a slow form of self-destruction. They would rather stand alone than be surrounded by people who don't respect their autonomy. Walking away isn't easy, and society will never applaud them for it. But Sigma males don't seek validation. They seek freedom. And when family becomes a cage instead of a foundation, they know there's only one real option: breaking free. If this resonates with you, if you've ever felt controlled rather than supported, know this: you are not wrong for choosing yourself. You are not cold for setting boundaries. You are simply refusing to live a life dictated by others, and that is true strength. Number 2, they are realists, not idealists. Many people remain trapped in toxic family dynamics because they hold on to hope. Hope that things will get better, that toxic relatives will suddenly change, that years of dysfunction will magically heal. Sigma males don't operate on hope, they operate on reality. If a family member has repeatedly shown that they are manipulative, disrespectful, or emotionally draining, a Sigma male won't wait around for a miracle. They accept the truth as it is, not as they wish it to be. This doesn't mean they're heartless or incapable of love. On the contrary, Sigma males value deep, meaningful connections. But they also know that real relationships, whether family or not, are built on respect, not obligation. If someone refuses to respect them, they see no reason to maintain the relationship, no matter the blood ties. Society will try to guilt them into staying, saying things like, "But it's your family," or "You only get one family in life." But Sigma males reject these shallow arguments. They believe that just because someone is family doesn't mean they are entitled to a lifetime of loyalty. If the relationship is unhealthy, they have no problem cutting the cord and moving forward without regret. At the end of the day, Sigma males don't live for appearances or outdated traditions. They live for truth, clarity, and personal freedom. And if that means walking away from family to protect their peace, they will do so, without hesitation and without looking back. Thank you for being part of Gents Grove community. You are valued. At number 3. When support comes with strings, they cut the cord. For most people, family support is supposed to be unconditional, given out of love, care, and a genuine desire to help. But Sigma males know that in many cases, support from family isn't really support at all. It's a transaction, a hidden contract where every favor, every bit of financial help, and every kind gesture comes with an unspoken price. And Sigma males, they refuse to play that game. Unlike others who may accept help blindly, Sigma males think long-term. They know that in some families, favors come with invisible chains, expectations of control, influence over decisions, or endless guilt-tripping disguised as just reminding you who was there for you. Whether it's money, career assistance, or even emotional support, many family members use these acts of kindness as leverage. They expect obedience in return, believing that their help gives them the right to dictate how a Sigma male should live. But Sigma males value one thing above all else: freedom. If support comes at the cost of independence, they want no part of it. They'd rather struggle on their own, build their own way, and deal with the hardships of life solo than owe anyone anything. Because they know the moment they accept conditional help, they've given up a piece of their autonomy. This mindset often makes them seem distant or ungrateful to family members who expect them to play along. Relatives may say things like, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me," or "You wouldn't be where you are without us." But Sigma males see these words for what they truly are: attempts to pull them back into the cycle of obligation and control. And rather than being trapped in a never-ending debt, they cut the cord. They are not afraid to walk away, even if it means standing alone. Because to a Sigma male, true success isn't just about wealth or achievement. It's about living life on their own terms without being manipulated, controlled, or indebted to anyone. Number 4, they will not carry generational baggage. Every family has its baggage, unresolved issues, old grudges, emotional wounds passed down from one generation to the next. While some may feel obligated to carry this weight, Sigma males refuse. They understand that generational trauma isn't just a part of family history, it's a trap, and they won't let themselves be the emotional dumping ground for their family's unresolved conflicts. Generational baggage often comes in the form of expectations, pain, or outdated patterns. Maybe it's the pressure to live up to the successes of a parent or grandparent. Maybe it's the silent tension caused by years of unresolved arguments that no one wants to talk about. Whatever the form, it's passed down, often without question, and it's expected to be carried by the next in line. But Sigma males are not like everyone else. They are deeply introspective and highly self-aware. They know that carrying the weight of someone else's emotional issues will only hold them back from becoming who they're meant to be. For Sigma males, freeing themselves from this burden is not just a choice, it's a necessity. They won't allow themselves to be dragged into cycles of blame, guilt, or unresolved pain. They reject the idea that they have to carry the emotional wounds of the past, whether it's their parents' mistakes, their family's history of dysfunction, or old grudges that have been brewing for decades. Instead of allowing these issues to define them or shape their future, they choose to walk away from the chaos and start fresh. This often makes them seem distant or cold to their families. Relatives may accuse them of not caring, of being too focused on themselves or selfish, but the truth is, Sigma males care deeply about breaking free from generational cycles of pain and toxicity. They know that the only way to heal is to stop the pattern from continuing. And by refusing to carry the emotional baggage of the past, they take back their power, their peace, and their future. If you've ever felt weighed down by the unresolved issues of your family, know that you don't have to carry that burden. You are not responsible for the past, only for your own growth. And walking away from generational baggage is the first step in freeing yourself to live a life that's truly yours. Number 5, they have no desire to be the fixer or savior. In many families, there's always one person who is expected to step up and fix everything. The problem solver, the financial rescuer, the emotional crutch. Often that person is the one who gets called when things go wrong, asked to lend a hand when others are in need, and expected to carry the weight of everyone else's problems. For some, this may feel like a noble responsibility, but for a Sigma male, this role is a trap they refuse to fall into. Sigma males aren't interested in being anyone's fixer or savior. They understand that real support comes from healthy, balanced relationships where everyone contributes and takes responsibility for their own lives. They've seen the emotional manipulation, the silent expectations, and the one-sided dynamic that comes with being the family's go-to person. They know how exhausting it can be to constantly put out fires for others while neglecting their own needs and ambitions. Being thrust into this role can feel suffocating. Instead of being valued for who they are as individuals, Sigma males are often reduced to someone's solution to a problem. And the more they give, the more they're expected to give. It's a never-ending cycle of people relying on them without ever reciprocating. And they know all too well that once you become the family fixer, it's nearly impossible to escape. Sigma males refuse to let themselves be exploited this way. They aren't cold-hearted, but they recognize that their energy and time are valuable. They are willing to help when necessary, but they won't be the default solution to every problem. They understand that helping others isn't about rescuing them from their own mistakes or bailing them out every time things get tough. True help comes from empowering others to take responsibility for their own lives, not enabling unhealthy patterns. They'd rather let their family members face the consequences of their actions than be dragged into the cycle of dependence. Walking away from this role isn't abandonment. It's about setting boundaries. Sigma males know that they cannot live their fullest life if they are constantly held back by others' expectations of being their personal savior. If you've ever felt trapped in the role of the family fixer, constantly solving problems for others but never getting the same in return, remember this: you are not selfish for prioritizing yourself. You are not heartless for walking away from one-sided expectations. You are simply choosing to live authentically and without the burden of others' unresolved issues. It's time to set yourself free. Number 6, they prioritize mental peace over toxic relationships. Most people are taught that family is forever no matter what, that you should tolerate toxic relatives simply because they're blood. But Sigma males see things differently. To them, family is about respect, not just DNA. And if a relationship, family or not, starts draining their mental peace, they won't hesitate to walk away. Sigma males are highly introspective. They don't just react to situations, they analyze them. They recognize manipulation, guilt-tripping, and drama for what they are. Emotional traps designed to keep them tied to people who don't genuinely care for their well-being. They see the family members who only reach out when they need something. They notice the passive-aggressive comments disguised as concern. They are aware of the cycles of unnecessary conflict, the unspoken tensions, and the constant emotional toll of staying in an unhealthy dynamic. And instead of making excuses or enduring it just because that's how family is, they make the tough decision to cut ties. This isn't an act of coldness. It's an act of self-respect. Sigma males understand that mental peace is priceless. They refuse to spend their lives walking on eggshells, being the emotional punching bag, or constantly defending themselves against people who refuse to change. Many will call them selfish for this. They'll hear things like, family is family, or you can't just cut people off. But Sigma males know that keeping toxic people in their lives, family or not, isn't love. It's self-destruction. They aren't interested in fixing what's broken if it means breaking themselves in the process. If you've ever felt drained by family members who bring nothing but stress, if you've ever questioned whether it's okay to put yourself first, take this as your answer. You are not wrong for choosing peace. You are not heartless for protecting your energy. You are simply doing what others are too afraid to do, valuing yourself enough to walk away. And that is real strength. Number 7. Traditional family roles. Feel like a trap. From the moment you're born, society assigns you a role. If you're a son, you're expected to be dutiful, always putting the family's needs above your own. If you're a brother, you're supposed to be the protector, the peacemaker, or the one who never lets anyone down. If you're an uncle, you're expected to be present, involved, and responsible, whether it fits your life or not. These roles sound noble on the surface, but for a Sigma male, they feel like a cage. Sigma males don't live by scripts written for them. They don't believe that family titles come with automatic obligations. They see through the unspoken rules, the expectation to sacrifice their dreams for the greater good of the family, to always be available regardless of their own needs, and to play a part that was assigned, not chosen. And that's where the problem begins. When a Sigma male refuses to follow this path, it disrupts the system. Suddenly, family members start seeing him as cold, rebellious, or selfish. They question why he doesn't show up to every gathering, why he doesn't drop everything to handle family problems, or why he chooses solitude over endless obligations. But what they don't understand is that Sigma males aren't heartless. They're simply unwilling to be trapped in a life that doesn't serve them. For a Sigma male, freedom is more valuable than forced belonging. They don't reject family out of hatred, but they do reject expectations that limit their independence. They know that true relationships are built on mutual respect, not on guilt or forced responsibility. They refuse to let family duty rob them of their own path, their own goals, and their own sense of self. If you've ever felt suffocated by these traditional roles, if you've ever been told that your worth is based on how much you give, not who you are, then you understand exactly why Sigma males walk away. It's not about abandonment. It's about self-preservation. Because at the end of the day, if being part of a family means losing yourself, then walking away isn't a betrayal, it's survival. Number 8. They refuse to be shamed for their life choices. Family can be a source of support, but for many Sigma males, it can also be a source of pressure. From an early age, they're bombarded with expectations: get married, have children, follow a specific career path, and adhere to religious or cultural norms. It's as if their value is determined by ticking off these boxes rather than living a life that aligns with their own desires and values. But Sigma males aren't ones to bend to society's mold, and they certainly won't let their family shame them into doing so. Sigma males are independent thinkers. They're not interested in meeting arbitrary milestones set by others. Whether it's the pressure to marry at a certain age, follow a traditional career path, or follow a religious doctrine that doesn't resonate with them, they reject these imposed ideals. They understand that living for the approval of others only leads to resentment and a life that's not truly their own. But when you refuse to conform to family expectations, the judgment often follows. Family members may criticize their choices, calling them selfish, immature, or irresponsible for not adhering to the traditional path. They may get questions like, "When are you getting married?" or "Why don't you want kids?" And while many people cave to these questions, feeling obligated to explain or defend themselves, Sigma males simply won't. They refuse to let anyone shame them for choosing a path that feels right for them, even if it doesn't align with the norms. What others fail to understand is that Sigma males know their worth isn't determined by how closely they follow the crowd. They are self-aware enough to know that their life choices are just that, their choices. They don't need validation from anyone, especially not family members who can't see beyond their own narrow worldview. This doesn't mean they don't love their family or care about their opinions. But Sigma males understand that true love and respect don't come from imposing expectations. They come from accepting people for who they are, choices and all. So if you've ever been made to feel less than because your life doesn't match the typical roadmap, remember this: you are not obligated to live by anyone else's script. Your choices are valid, your path is yours to carve, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing to live authentically. Number 9. Walking away is a power move, not a weakness. For many, walking away from family is seen as a drastic, even heartless act. Society often paints it as a betrayal or a sign of weakness, something to be ashamed of. But for a Sigma male, cutting ties with family isn't a sign of failure. It's a powerful declaration. It's a statement that they are no longer willing to sacrifice their peace, independence, or well-being just to adhere to societal expectations or keep the peace in dysfunctional relationships. Sigma males are not afraid to make hard choices. They are fiercely committed to their personal growth, mental health, and inner peace. And when a family relationship becomes toxic or manipulative, they understand that staying in it only weakens them. Walking away, on the other hand, is an act of strength. It's the courage to prioritize their own happiness and authenticity over the outdated norms that demand loyalty at any cost. This is where the Sigma mindset shines. They don't view themselves as weak for walking away from unhealthy dynamics. They see it as a necessary move for self-preservation. Cutting ties is an act of reclaiming their autonomy and removing themselves from situations that drag them down emotionally or mentally. For a Sigma male, self-respect is non-negotiable. They know that in order to evolve and succeed in life, they must let go of anything that stands in their way, even if that means letting go of family. To most people, family is the one thing you never turn your back on, no matter what. But Sigma males know that family should not be an emotional prison. They are willing to break free from the chains of familial expectations to build the life they truly want to live, free from judgment, manipulation, or guilt. Walking away is not a sign of failure, nor is it a cold act. It is, in fact, the ultimate form of self-love and strength. Sigma males embrace this power move, and in doing so, they redefine what it means to prioritize their own well-being in a world that expects conformity. They are not weak for walking away. They are strong for knowing when to do so. Number 10, they see family for what it is. Sigma males don't wear rose-colored glasses when it comes to family. They don't romanticize relationships or ignore the dysfunctions that might be lurking beneath the surface. Instead, they see family exactly for what it is: flawed, complex, and sometimes even toxic. While others might overlook the cracks in the foundation, Sigma males face reality head-on. They understand that family is made up of human beings, each with their own baggage, weaknesses, and unresolved issues. And rather than pretending everything is fine, they embrace the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it might be. This doesn't mean they don't love their family. On the contrary, Sigma males value deep, authentic connections. But they're also brutally honest about the impact family has on their life. If a family dynamic is unhealthy, if it's steeped in manipulation, negativity, or outdated expectations, they're not afraid to walk away. It's not about cutting ties out of spite or anger. It's about clarity. Sigma males don't hold on to relationships that hinder their growth or compromise their peace of mind. They're keenly aware of what drains them and what fuels them, and they won't tolerate being stuck in relationships that keep them in a stagnant place. For them, walking away is not an act of hostility, but of self-respect. They are willing to leave behind the familiar in order to create space for their personal evolution. When family doesn't align with their core values, they won't compromise their happiness for the sake of tradition or blood ties. They understand that life is too short to spend it trying to fit into someone else's mold, especially if that mold is broken. Sigma males embrace their independence fully. They accept that not all relationships are meant to last forever, and that sometimes the healthiest choice is to walk away, even from family. It's not an easy decision, but it's a clear one, because at the end of the day, they will choose their own growth over the comfort of staying in relationships that hold them back. And that is true strength. Conclusion. Walking away from family isn't an easy choice. In fact, it's one of the hardest decisions anyone can make, especially when the ties run deep. But for a Sigma male, it's a decision rooted in clarity and self-awareness. It's not about rejecting family. It's about rejecting anything that threatens their personal peace, growth, and authenticity. Sigma males aren't cold or heartless. They're simply unwilling to sacrifice their mental and emotional well-being for the sake of fulfilling outdated expectations or staying in toxic dynamics. They understand that growth comes from challenging the status quo, And sometimes the most powerful step they can take is creating space between themselves and relationships that drain them. Being a Sigma male means choosing yourself when the world expects you to conform, being brave enough to outgrow the roles others try to force on you, and standing strong in your belief that your life is yours to live, not anyone else's. It's about knowing that your worth isn't determined by how well you fit into someone else's version of who you should be. So if you've ever felt the weight of family expectations or been made to feel guilty for choosing your own path, know this: you're not wrong for walking away when it's necessary. You're not weak for setting boundaries and prioritizing your own happiness. You are strong because you have the courage to be true to yourself no matter what. Walking away from family is a power move. It's an act of self-respect, a step toward freedom, and a commitment to living on your own terms. Sigma males understand that to evolve, sometimes you have to leave behind what no longer serves you, no matter how painful that might be. And in doing so, they forge their own path, one that leads to true fulfillment and inner peace. Remember, being a Sigma male isn't about rejecting connections. It's about embracing the right ones, the ones that nurture your growth, your authenticity, and your vision for the future. And sometimes, the strongest move you can make is walking away from those who are holding you back. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.